Welcome to another edition of X's in a Row, the series where you have questions and we've got answers, sometimes even good ones. This first question comes in from King Kane 13 at Kane's Gang 1313. We have 7 guys with a plus 10 yards per reception, over 10 receptions. Thank you for adding that tidbit. Why does this feel absolutely shocking? How do they get that production moved into the red zone? So it sounds like a 2-part question. So let's go ahead and talk about the first part. Well, how come it seems shocking? University of Miami still has the 3rd most prolific passing attack in the ACC. They average 290.5 yards a game. You have to remember when Tyler Van Dyke was still inserted into the lineup, he had a game where he almost threw for 500 yards, a couple back 300 performances to add on that, and that's where you get a lot of that chunk yardage and those yards per reception average that you looked at. But now where the mirage happens, in terms of long scrimmage plays, 30 yards and 40 yards. Did you know your University of Miami Hurricanes long scrimmage plays over 30? They rank 112th nationally. Now, you turn around and take it a step further to 40 yards. We're 121st nationally. There's only 131 schools. So this isn't a prolific offense at all in terms of netting you explosive plays, which is something that can change. Now, the second part, what can we do in the red zone? Well, King Kane, we do this all the time in the X's and Row chat on Discord. We just share cool plays all the time. And it's just a conscientious effort to be better down there. Obviously, this is Phil Longo here inside the red zone. Just a little stop fade. And University of Miami ran this earlier, this concept on the year. They're basically taking the slot 2. He's going to come in on the stop, bring somebody up. Next you know, hit him with the okey doke. Big fan of Phil Longo, longtime coordinator for UNC and the ACC. And then, I just love this play too, right? It doesn't seem like much, but when you look at what North Dakota State does here in terms of the offensive lineman, he legitimately sells like he's coming across the formation and runs like a counter fake to be like a quarterback lead draw. Just go ahead and, steal other concepts from around. It's a copycat league. You want to get better in the red zone, you just got to call better red zone plays. This question's coming in from Cuddy E. Bag at Andrew and a whole bunch of numbers and letters. Thank you. You've asked questions in the past. Do you think Jake was reading low to high and missing open receivers due to worried about turnovers? Was he just missing open guys due to other issues? Thanks, Ro. It's always going to be a multifaceted thing. There's a lot of times when you watch back where the quarterback's going to take ownership, like, yeah, I missed that read, or, there was a protection issue, or wide receivers, maybe depth is a little off. You have to know the whole context of the play to answer some of these questions. But I'll at least take you on a ride so we can watch together. Now, this is Jake Garcia. Obviously, now this play coming out there in their 12-set personnel, 1 running back, 2 tight ends, they've run this. Now they're running this from a different kind of formation. Sometimes they run this from 2x2 look. Essentially, this is 2x2. Outside guys are going to just go ahead and read the cornerback's leverage. He sees this really, really quick, very decisive with the ball, gets it out there, saw the leverage, gets it out there. Keyshawn, we're going to continue this once again. When he knows pre-snap where he's going to go with the ball, very effective, right? Right here, I think this was an answer to some of the blitz looks and people trying to get you repeatedly in the boundary. He's just going to hit this quick tunnel screen. There it is. Offensive line comes out, so there was part of that screen game. Now, this is when I felt like Jake Garcia had some hesitation. It's going to be on the next play, so hopefully you can follow this with me, okay? I just paused a little bit. All right, so it's on the mesh concepts. It's on the crossing concepts, and this is going to be a crossing concepts. Josh Gaddis loves this on film, and I just don't think that we had the answer when they went to zone. Mesh concepts, when you have crossers, very super effective against man. Very super. You can run it against zone too, so you have to go ahead and look at other options. But when you're running crossers, and you just got to pay attention right here to the University of Virginia, when they go ahead and sit this back, right? Look, we're just running right into their zone. So that's kind of like the hesitation you're seeing from Jake, because they're in mesh, they're in zone, and we're holding on to the ball. Guys are running into it, and that's probably what the fix would need to be. Just settle down, find a soft spot in the zone. We didn't do that here. Jake pauses. He's going to go ahead and takes a sack. That might have been what you referred to as that high-low read, but thanks for the question. This next question comes in from Brendan at Brendan182 on Twitter. Simply asks, what is the point of check with me with 8 seconds left on the play clock? Now, Remember, check with me is that sudden stop an offense does when it looks like a play is called and they all look over to the sideline because they're getting a redirected play or an audible from the coaching staff. Now, in terms of audibles, sometimes quarterbacks make those audibles. And then there's a lot of times in college the prerogative, we're going to run this check with me system because I'd rather entrust the audibles to me and my $1 million salary versus an 18, 19, 20-year-old kid sometimes. So it goes both ways. I still believe you need to have audible capabilities in some sort of fashion, either check with me or audible. But you run the risk when you run check with me. And I'm instantly reminded, Brendan, of earlier in the year, and I brought up my student of the game because this was Middle Tennessee State. We just did check with me. We had a lot of time on the clock. They were able to take this defensive end and flush him to the 3 side. He disrupted the play. He disrupted the key. So anytime you run check with me, you run that risk, right? They could adapt to your adaptation. So running it with less time on the play clock, I might agree with that because now you're not giving them an opportunity to check because they won't simply have the time. There's always this cat and mouse element with check with me. There are times where I can agree running it later in the play clock just to keep the defense that you wanted on the field. This question comes in from Anton, who's proudly standing with Ukraine at Hurricane Time on Twitter. Mario mentioned we missed a few deep shots early. Would love to see that and why. Additionally, would love your thoughts on when to abandon deep shot attempts and when to continue it. Seems to be an OC trust issue with Jake, or is he missing reads? So a lot to unpack. Here was a shot that the University of Miami tried to take earlier in the game. Obviously, they're taking an end around, and we were about to try to take a shot deep and pass that with Romello Brinson. Didn't have the capability. Shot not there. Obviously, University of Virginia covers that. Now, on a previous clip, I posted a stat. So do I think it's a trust issue with Jake? Not necessarily. Because on the year, University of Miami, in terms of long scrimmage plays, and this includes Tyler Van Dyke because this is a yearly stat, University of Miami ranks 112th out of 131 schools in plays, long scrimmage plays, over 30 yards. Over 40 yards, it drops to 121. There's only 131. You have to have a DNA and a culture for explosive plays. It has to be something you're willing to do. And I posted this earlier in the week, and I want to go back to it. This is the fourth quarter, 31-26 with 10:46 to go. And we take a shot from a gun 7 max protect look. Now, what that means to me, anytime you have a shotgun gun 7, first of all, you trust your quarterback's arm, and we know we can trust TVD's arm. And you're running a deep over concept. This was intentional. Like I said, a gun 7 max protect. You're trying to get your quarterback back into the pocket and you're trying to protect him. That's what that means. And then you're just going to go ahead and take a massive shot over the top to Mike Harley. When does it stop? When does it start as far as your prerogative and your initiative to go ahead and try to limit the big plays? It depends. It depends. It depends on what your nature is. And this year, Josh Gaddis's nature hasn't been to take big shots over the top. This question's coming in from Aces and Canes. Biggest question he has is, what can Steele do to stop the quarterback run? Spy with flag will be a disaster. If we can't contain the quarterback run, we honestly have no shot to win this game. If we can keep it a lower scoring game, we got a chance if TVD is good to go. Thoughts? Okay, couple things to unpack in that question. The TVD element I'll address later, but let's rack the film, shall we? And what can Kevin Steele do? Now, before we get into this, I just want to say, on the year, Kevin Steele has an idea what to do with mobile quarterbacks. This isn't new to him. And here's one element. We'll show you right here. 4 down at the line of scrimmage. At the snap of the ball, you're actually going to see, well, now you got 2 spies, and they're patrolling that middle avenue, right? When that quarterback has that middle avenue that opens up, a lot of the times he runs right through it. It's a direct access point. Closest point between 2 lines is always the straight line. And when you get those quarterbacks moving laterally outside of the pocket, a lot of times you have a little bit more time to react to that. Makes sense. But I like this concept. He's obviously going to go ahead, take that middle avenue away. 2 spies in that element. The lead running back, and that's kind of like UVA's offense. When it's not there, that running back is then going to kind of be a lead blocker for the quarterback, Brendan Armstrong. I saw that a couple times on film this week. Can't block both. Great job by Kevin Steele. He knows he took away the quarterback rush lane, especially that middle avenue. So he has a plan, and he'll have a plan for Jordan Travis I'm sure of that. Now, in terms of TBD, is he good to go? The reports are that all the quarterbacks are taking reps, including Ja'Cory Brown, who I feel has been formidable when he comes in there, especially with the rush element that he brings in his athleticism. How about, I don't know, in order to win this game, we score a lot more points, right? Can't rely on a defense holding a team to no touchdowns and 6 points at the end of regulation. You have to have a game where you manufacture some big plays. You have to get the momentum this week. You simply cannot do what you've been doing offensively, because if you want my opinion, you can't rely on your defense this week. I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair for Florida State, and you're going to have to match points in order to win. This last question comes in from MG at Padrino Kane on Twitter. And before we get there, just want to personally thank the sponsors, Tank Brewery, Caneswear, DraftKings, Ed Morse, for being proud supporters of the Orange Bowl Boys and the OBB Legend and the X's and Rose series. Thank you. The question, Mario went 8-1 versus rivals at Oregon. Does his dominance continue this weekend? Well, time to take the X's and Rose hat off and put the commentary hat on. I hope so. At the beginning of the year, I think University of Miami Hurricane fans were convinced that this was going to be a win at home. Riding high, the staff that we had, the returning roster, but obviously this season hasn't turned out the way we envisioned. The main catalyst and a lot of the focal point down here is just the lack of offense, the inability to score points, the inability to have big plays. In order for the University of Miami to have a chance in this game, it has to have a spark on offense. Who's going to start at quarterback? We simply do not know at this point. So, I want Mario to go ahead and start on a new streak. I want to beat our rivals because that always makes me smile when we do. I'm your boy Ro, managing editor for the new OBB Legend, and come check us out at Discord You Review You. We have an X's and Ro chat where we talk ball all the time. As always, stay dangerous, my friends. Bang.